All right. So our goal is to find the 3 unknown parts of our triangle. Right now, we are given that this is 28.7. We are given that this is 26 degrees. And of course, this box right here means we have a right angle. So I know 3 parts of my triangle. I have to find the other, 3 parts of my triangle. The first one we probably could have done at the beginning of the year. You guys already answered this because we know the 3 angles equal 180. So I'm going to write 90 degrees because that's this angle, plus 26 degrees, plus Z equals 180. And all I'm going to do is a little bit of math. And if I subtract 90 from both sides, that would go away. If I subtract 26 from both sides, that should go away. Very good. Thank you. Z is 64. By doing some subtraction, we could hopefully very easily figure out that Z is 64. So guys, remember I said originally I had my original, all of the original written in black. So I'm going to kind of cross out this Z because we now know that this Z is 64. And so since we know Z is 64, I could use that to be important. Now, you did not have to do that first if you didn't want to. Remember all this chapter as we've been talking about SOHCAHTOA? Well, let me put my finger here and go across from it. Again, if you don't want to unmute yourself, you don't have to worry about it. We all should all know a word. I should be able to write on, like next to this 28.7. That word would be, thank you for saying it with me, even though you were muted because that's what you wanted to be. I hope you realize that that is the hypotenuse. Now, if we want to, we could still use this angle of 26 degrees. Or since I figured out 64, I could use 64. But because I want to show you how we could have done this before we figured out 64, I'm going to use my original number of 26. So please remember, if I want to use 26, if I go across the triangle from 26, that would be considered my opposite leg. So what happens if I know 26 and I have the opposite leg is an unknown, but the hypotenuse is 28.7? Uh-oh, I have opposite and hypotenuse. I should use so. So right here, I'm going to write sine of theta equals x over 28.7. Oh, excuse me. The first time I should probably write opposite over hypotenuse, just so I remember where it comes from. But we've been doing this so much, I hope you realize the opposite leg was that x. That's why I said that. The hypotenuse was 28.7. Remember theta, this weird symbol right here, is my angle. Please be careful. You actually use the angle we meant to use, which was 26 degrees. So we would have the sine of 26 degrees equals x over 28.7. Remember, I taught you this. It's been a few weeks since we've done it. Since 28.7 is in the bottom, I've got to multiply. So I would use x equals 28.7 times the sine of 26 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you this warning because there's something else we're going to do this morning as well. If you are using Desmos, please make sure you switched it to degree mode. If you didn't, you're going to be getting wrong answers. My calculator is telling me the number of 12.58125 keeps on going, but remember, we're supposed to round to a decimal. So I would get 12.6. So I could go over here now and cross that out and write 12.6. Remember, I started out with only those original numbers that were black was everything that was original. Any work I've done has been done in either red or blue. So it looks like the only thing I don't know yet is y. A couple days ago, we learned something called Pythagorean's theorem. We could do y squared plus 12.6 squared equals 28.7 squared. That is something we could do. But some people say to me, usually when we're in class, well, Miss Jabs, if we used sine to figure out this side, This guy's right next to him. I'm going to pick up that red again. Where did I put him? Maybe not. I don't know where it went. I am going to say right next to him is adjacent. And since right next to him is adjacent, I could use cosine. So I could say the cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Please be very careful. Some people think right now, since I'm writing in red, I was using this 64, but remember 26 is next to that. And so I'm still using my 26. Somebody might be thinking in their head right now, but Miss Jabs, y is across from 64. I actually probably could have used the sine of 64 because that's across from that, but it's next to the 26. That's why I have to use cosine. Would be y over 28.7. Again, your number is in the bottom, so we will multiply. So I'm going to do 28.7 cosine of 26. And it looks like that one is about 25.8. 25.8. All right, so we found those two using the three angles of a triangle adding to 180. We can find that one. Once again, I gave you those three originals that were written, the 26 degrees, 28.7, and 90 degrees. Don't forget that one's one we sometimes forget. So I figured out that red angle of 64, the blue side of 12.6, and the red side of 25.8. All right. So that's a little bit what your homework. I'm about to stop recording, hopefully.